is, first of all, I'm going to turn off my sky layer so I don't see that anymore. Looks great, but I don't need it anymore. What I want to do with this, to make this a little easier for me to work with, I'm going to draw one big shape overall, and then I'm going to come in and draw other shapes over the top of it. So I'm going to do like I did before, and I'm going to get a base color. In this case, I can almost grab one of these colors from my swatches. So here's this, kind of this yellow, orange, green color. I can lighten it up just a little bit, so it's maybe a little more consistent with the color that I want behind, and that will work. And I'm just going to drag that over to here. Now later, oops, not there, I've got to drag it over to that family, or that group. So I'll put it in here. Now, at this point, I'm going to come in fairly close to this, and I'm going to try to trace this just about as close as I can. Well, not that close. But I'm going to go ahead, and if you push Shift Command Option, it will allow you to zoom out. I'm going to go ahead and start coming around this. And I'll come up here. I'm not going to worry about these yet. You'll see what we'll do with those in a moment. So I'm going to come up in here, and I'll go around. Now when we come back, I'll have this whole building completely outlined, so don't worry about it. Here now you can see that I've traced around the building here. Let's look at the color a little bit, and we're gonna go ahead and adjust this just a little bit. Now, we're not going to adjust it a lot because a lot of our color is going to be a composite of all these other things that are on top of it, and so we won't worry about that. Now, what I'm going to work on is the dome. And first of all, I'm going to start to look and say, okay, how can I go about making this? And what I'm going to do is start out with just a dark color. I'm going to grab probably this gray. Oops, got to deselect that shape. Grab this gray. Make sure that it's my stroke color starting off. And I'm also going to add a little bit of magenta and a little bit of cyan and yellow to it to make it more of a brown gray and not just a solid gray. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to click and just start creating these shapes. Now I don't need to see all of this other stuff in here. In fact, I don't need to see any of this. So I'm going to edit all of this out. Come around here, make this curve. I'm going to come in and down like this. And then I'll come over, down, over, and finish up where I start. Now I'm looking at that, and that's really too light, so I've got to darken that up by quite a bit. I'll push Shift X. Now I'm going to come over here and not flip that back. Now, as I zoom out, create those 4 windows, if I select this, or the building, I can flip that, and now I see things starting to shape up. Now I want this to have a little bit of variation in that. I'm not allowed to create a gradient. You can't create any gradients in this. So what I'm going to do is get a little lighter gray-brown. Maybe this color right here. I'm going to start like that. Come down here. Actually, I'm going to come down about right here. Come up and kind of curve around. Come up here and here. I can flip that like that. In fact, that's what I'll do in a lot of this, and we'll see that in a moment. But let's flip this back now, and we can see what we're starting to get. Okay. All right, now I'm going to go back again with this black, and this is an area where I'm going to have to edit. I'm going to say, all right, exactly what do I want to put in here? Well, in this case, I'm going to try to simplify this as much as I can. I probably will start here, and I'm just going to go around like this, because all I need to do is create the sense that there's a texture underneath. I might get maybe a little lighter color, you know, right here. Well, let's see, there's that. Maybe this color right here. And I might come around inside like this. Gotta get rid of that fill color, so we'll trade over. And do sort of the same kind of thing like this, just to create a little bit of a surface quality to it. I can just go to Object, Arrange, and I can send backward. And so I'm just going to push Command and left bracket until ultimately that shape drops behind those. Now we'll zoom out. Let's go ahead and select this, and we'll toggle that back and forth. And you'll see now that we're getting some shape in there. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw some more here. So let's finish up this window area, and then we'll call it good. Now I'm going to work light to dark because we have darker areas seen over the top of it. It's probably the way I should have worked before, but you know, live and learn. I'm going to start out with this lighter color, and I'm going to come in here like this, come around, and let's push Shift X so that I have that fill color. I'm going to come around on the inside of this to there, go back up and around. Kind of come in here like this. And I'll come and select this color, so I'll load that, and I know that right here I have just a little bit of a dark shadow right here, and I'm going to put a little bit of a darker shadow. And it's okay to sort of make up some of these things like this. That's not a problem, because you already have established the shape that you're going with. So there's that. Now I'm going to go ahead and select this and push Shift X so that it toggles it back and forth. Select my color here, and now I'm going to come in here and do the same thing. I'm going to come around here. Let's go like this. And I'm going to come clear over here. I'm going to change that so I can see what's going on. Come to about right here, up and over. So I'm faking this a little bit just because I probably should have planned it a little bit better, but it's all right. I'm going to come down now to here and over, and I'll come like this over to here. And then I'm going to come in here like this. This is a little lighter, so I'll come around like that. And now I'm going to just come back down in here like this. Now I've done kind of a long piece with that, but when I push Shift X, it's going to flop that. Now this line is a little thick, so what I'm going to do is go to, I better select it with my pen or with my arrow tool, or change my control path or my control palette right up here. I'm going to change that to just 1/4 of a pixel thick so that I can see what else is going on. Now I'll select this color, get my pen tool, and I'm going to add just this darker color through here. Shift X so I can see what's going on. And we'll come all the way around like this. Get that really dark corner right in there. And then just come back over here, up, over, maybe down here, and around. There's that. Now I'm going to do it here as well. And notice that I'm limiting my colors. I'm not putting a million different colors in here. There are lots of different colors in here. Part of this assignment is you need to edit and figure out what things you don't want. Select same stroke color, and I'm going to flip those. Now, let's see what happens with this area. Right now, it doesn't look like much, but when we select this, we flip that, this is what we get. And that is perfectly appropriate for the assignment. This level of detail is just fine. Okay, this level right here, not all of this right here. You've got to get a lot more done than that. But this is starting to articulate as that window and also that information that's above it. In some cases, I'm going to just flop this back really fast. You may want to get a lighter color, like maybe this color. I don't know if that's too light. I'm sorry, I don't know if that's too dark still. Let's lighten it up just a little bit. If I push shift, it will lighten all of them. Right here, I'm going to put just a little bit of a highlight on here. That looks like it's way too light, so we do need to darken that up just a little bit. Like that. Put a dark color in there. Maybe a little bit of a highlight. We've got some areas out here on that body, so maybe just some things like that. And you've got to decide if this is important enough to you or important enough to the image that you need to put that in. That's sort of for you to decide. I'm not going to tell you what to do there. But, well, of course you'll get your grade, and that will tell you what to do. But in the meantime, I want you just to do your best with that. Now let's see how that looks with just those highlights in there. You can't see them very well because they're not, actually they're a little darker. So let's go back in here. We're going to lighten them up a little bit more. And that actually really works out well right there. Now let's look at this with our sky in the background. See how our sky has blocked that? Or our sky has blocked the area behind it. Now this is starting to get a sense of being finished. One thing to be aware of, and I want to just point this out really quickly and then before we move on, I'm going to flop that back here, turn my sky off. Don't try to cut out that shape from the inside of here. Instead, just get your pen tool, grab that light blue color, and come in here like this, and just make it really quick. Let's get that light blue over here, and we don't even need to worry about the fill color in it because we can, or the fill in the stroke, because we don't have to, we're not going over anything else. So I'm going to do this, and I'm not even going to create a transition color. It's a light enough color against another color that it will probably be just fine. I could come in and make it a little darker if I wanted to, prior to doing this, and that would be fine. But in this case, just something as simple as this is going to be just fine for what you're trying to accomplish. Especially where it's this small, it's not going to be totally recognizable. Let's flop that back now. And that's what we have. And that's just fine. So don't worry about it or try to say, oh, I've got to do better, I've got to do more to it. That's going to be just fine. For this dark area here, one last thing. I might take this same color and then add just a little more gray to it. And that could be maybe this little bit of darker color right in here, just as sort of a transitory color between them. And that might work. So let's see what we've got. Still close. Let's go ahead and lighten that up just a little bit, like that. And I want to take this and bring it